All right, everyone. I want to thank you so much for your service here today. It's been greatly appreciated. You're always welcome to stop by in the 187th District Court. It is an open courtroom, but I try to keep the courtroom as least congested as possible. One of the reasons is because the AC never works, so it's extremely hot. I know you all probably saw the thermostat and were thinking to yourself, why doesn't she lower it? It does not work. So it's just there. It's just there as a placebo. The deputy will have excuses for you. So make sure that before you leave, you have one of those white sheets of paper. If you do not have one, just let them know and they'll make sure that they give it to you. If you parked, you'll need to go to the basement to get your parking validated. Do not leave the building without getting your parking validated because there's a heat advisory already. It's 98 degrees, but because it's not dry heat, it feels about 103 out there. So the last thing you want to do is walk all the way to the garage and have to walk all the way back in this heat. So you will get your parking validated in the basement where you first checked in for central jury room. When you go home, you will receive a payment. That payment will come in the mail maybe about 1 or 2 months from now. And you're going to be asking yourself, is this real? Is this a scam? Is this a dream? What is this? Then you're going to remember the great time you had with Judge Boyd, and you're going to say, this is real. So you have a choice. When you receive that payment, one, you can donate it. There are many charities that you can donate it to. You can just let them know in the basement at the front window that you would like to donate it, or you'll receive a check in the mail. And hopefully it will be enough. Well, it will be enough for you to have lunch, not at a tourist attraction because they cost more, but it'll be enough for you to have lunch. And since for those of you who are not going to be on the jury, you still will have the rest of the full day to be off. Always tell people, enjoy downtown while you're here, look around. Always wonder if when people live in a specific location, they just take everything for granted. Whenever I travel to Europe and I see students walking past the Louvre, I'm like, do they know this is the Louvre? This is the Eiffel Tower. So you should feel that same way about San Antonio. This is the Riverwalk, because you would be surprised how many people I know who are not from San Antonio, who don't live here, think the Riverwalk is a great place. And you can take one of the boat rides, get your umbrella up, have a nice bottle of water and see all of the sights, because there are some interesting things on the tour, which I have taken because I'm not originally from here, but it's a nice chance for you to get a chance to reacquaint yourself with the city and downtown. All right, so I'm going to call the persons who are on the jury panel. When I call your name, I'm going to ask that you take a seat in the box. Raymond Anderson. Oh, it's good that you were right there. Sandra Walker. Bryant Hall. Matthew Nelson. Okay, it's like you all knew you were going to be on the panel, so you just purposely sat there. Araceli Cobb. Luis Gonzalez. Serena Garza. Marissa Prieto. Melitza Pinanero. Glenn Flojo. Carl Cluthy. Eva De Los Santos. Oh, you were just standing there waiting for your name to be called. Monica Vara. Adam Gonzalez. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for your service. And of course, this is an open courtroom. You're more than welcome to remain in the courtroom if you wish to. If you would like to be considered for another jury panel, I can send you downstairs and you'll be called up again. Well, at least nobody immediately raised their hand. I always tell people, let it marinate. But no, seriously, you have done your service for today, and thank you so much. And do not forget to validate your parking if that's what you need. All right, thank you. All right, ladies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, there is something that I wanted to let you know about these type of charges. And both the defense and state wanted me to let you know that sometimes in these cases, the range of punishment is not probation. It just depends on whatever the facts are of the case. So when I told you that the range of punishment was 2 to 20 years, in some cases it is 2 to 20 years. And in some cases, it's anywhere from probation or 2 to 20 years. Does everyone understand? All right. So I just wanted to make sure that everything was cleared up so you'd have that information. All right. Before we start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the oath. I know that you all have received the oath from downstairs, but this is an oath as it relates to this specific case. So if everyone could please raise your right hand for me, please. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm in the case of the state of Texas versus Raymond Alejandro, you will a true verdict render according to the law and the evidence, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. State, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. In the name and by authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bexar County, state of Texas, duly organized, impaneled, and sworn as such at the January term AD 2020 of the 144th Judicial District Court of said county, in said court, at said term, do present in and to said court that in the county and state aforesaid and anterior to the presentment of this indictment, on or about the 21st day of February 2021, Raymond Alejandro, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally and knowingly engage in sexual contact with Jesus Leza, Leza, a male child younger than 17 years, by touching part of the genitals of Jesus Leza III, with the intent to arouse or gratify the sexual desire of any person against the peace and dignity of the state, signed foreman of the grand jury.
Right. Mr. Alejandro, to that, how do you plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right. State, do you have any opening statements?
Yes, sir.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May it please the court, opposing counsel, co-counsel, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I'm going to tell you a few facts about this case and give you a little background about it. This case is something that's all too common in situations like this. You can call it a wolf in sheep's clothing. You can call it, someone taking advantage of a vulnerability that they see. You can call it misplaced trust. What happened was the Leza family allowed the defendant, Mr. Alejandro, to spend some time staying at their house. He'd stayed at their house before. This time he'd been there. He was staying for about a week. He's a member of the family. They trusted him to stay in their household. You're going to hear from Jay, Jesus Leza. He's a young boy who was about 13 at the time when the defendant was staying over at their house. You're going to hear Jay tell you about the time when Mr. Alejandro came into his bedroom, got up next to his bed and touched his penis for a good 15 minutes. People don't look at a stopwatch while they're in bed, but his penis was touched by the defendant for a prolonged amount of time. And he'll also tell you that a short time after that, while he was playing video games in the living room, the defendant again came up to him. The first time the touching was under the clothes, but the second time the defendant came up and touched him over the clothes again on the penis. You'll hear from Regina Garcia, Jay's mother, who will tell you about how Jay was acting strange. She was told, go talk to your son, Jay. She sat down with Jay, and Jay said, Mom, you may want to sit down for this. Then he goes ahead and he tells his mother what had happened to him, about the inappropriate touching. You'll also hear why, because it took a day or two for it to come out to Mom. You'll also hear why he waited, but it's, for a man, embarrassing to talk about that happening to you, to go to your mother and tell her about those body parts and use those words. And so you'll hear all that. And I think at the end, once you've heard all the testimony, you'll hear from the forensic interviewer, a forensic interviewing expert. You'll hear from a SANE nurse. And as you've learned, SANE stands for sexual abuse nurse examiner. And so you'll hear from these people. You'll hear from the detective who investigated the case. And once you hear from all these people, I will ask you to vote guilty. And I think you will see enough evidence to see fit to vote guilty. And I thank you for your time.
All right, defense.
Thank you,
Any
Judge.
statements?
Yes, Judge. It's easy to make an allegation. Jesus tells his mom, I was touched inappropriate. And you'll see how quickly things develop. The police come out, they talk to Jesus for, a few minutes outside their home with mom and stepdad present. He kind of just says the general allegation that the night before, or kind of that morning of that Sunday, I came in and I was in my room and he went underneath my shorts and touched my penis for I don't know how long. And then I was playing video games and he wanted to play video games with me. I told him no, and he came and laid down next to me and put his hand over my shorts for 15 minutes. And they tell the officer, and the officer within minutes is telling the family, okay, well, we're going to put a warrant out, we're going to charge him. You'll see there was zero investigation done. The people that they're talking about, the experts again, are not people that were there. They're not people that can tell you, yes, this happened, or no, this didn't happen. And you're gonna see how quickly this got rolling downhill. And how you're not gonna be able to take that back. How they're related is, Jesus's stepfather is brothers with Raymond. So Raymond goes up, he stays at the house occasionally, and he watches the children. He watches Jesus, his little brother, and then they had about a 1-year-old during that time period. And he would help out and watch the kids. Jesus's mother is a nurse and would work. His father is a Chavano Park police officer, and he would work. Not always just regular hours, but they would work, and Raymond would help out. And then obviously, once the allegation is made, his older brother, Raymond's older brother, his stepdad's older brother, comes to pick him up, because obviously he can't stay at the house anymore after that. And again, the allegation is very general. And so if you can't, just please pay attention to, because there's multiple statements made to people, just pay attention to the you may call them minor details, but really that's all we have are those minor details. And there's some inconsistencies there. There's going to be some things that don't make sense. And when you go back there, you're going to use your common sense and say, well, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And I'll be honest with you. I'm going to try to ask questions to figure out why that allegation was made. But I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I'll be able to give you that answer. And that's why we talked about before Dyer. Are you going to make us prove that motive or that ulterior motive? Like I said, I want to be honest and upfront, and I don't want to promise you anything. I don't know if I'm going to get there. But again, at the end of the case, I think you're going to be sitting there saying, look, I may not know why you made that allegation, but we do know that the state did not prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt, that they did not bring me enough evidence, that this just doesn't add up. And we talked about, you'll get back there. And again, when you're back there deliberating at the end of the case, I'm confident that you'll return a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
All right, state, call your first witness.
The state calls Jesus Lesa.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes, I can.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, but nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. I'm going to need you to speak up so that the members of the jury can hear you and so that the court reporter can hear you, okay?
Okay.
All right, if you'll state your name and spell it for the record.
My name is Jesus A. Lesa, JESUS ALEZA, and I'm the third.
State.
You go by Jesus?
Yes.
Do you have any nicknames?
I go by Jay.
Okay. And how old are you, Jay?
I'm 15.
Okay. And in February of 2021, how old were you?
I was 13.
Okay. What's your date of birth?
11/23/07.
Okay. Back in February of 2021, were you going to school?
Yes, I was.
Which school did you go to?
I went to Callison Elementary.
Okay. And what grade were you in?
I was in 5th, I think. Wait, 2 years ago. Oh no, I went to Folks actually. Folks Middle School.
Okay.
Sorry.
And what grade were you in at the middle school?
7th, I think.
Okay. And when you were in middle school, did you do any like extracurricular activities?
In 7th grade, I played football.
Okay.
Cool.
And what city did you live in in that time?
San Antonio, Texas.
And is that where your house was?
Yes.
Is that in Bear County?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Do you know why we're here today?
Yes, I do.
Do you know someone named Raymond Alejandro?
Yes, I do.
And do you see Raymond Alejandro in the courtroom today?
Yes, he's wearing a white shirt and hair slicked back.
Okay. Can the record show that the witness identified the defendant? And do you call him Raymond or do you call him Mr. Alejandro or what do you call him?
In the household, we called him Ramy.
Ramy.
Yes.
And what is your relation to Ramy?
He is kind of my step uncle. He's my stepfather's brother.
Okay. And do you know how old he is?
No, I do not. I think around like 25, maybe. I don't know.
Do you
Been a
know?
while.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you know like how much older he is than you?
I know. I think when it happened, he was 21.
Okay. Is he bigger than you or smaller than you?
Bigger.
Okay. What was your relationship like with Mr. Alejandro prior to February of 2021?
I would describe it kind of like a older brother almost.
Okay. Would y'all, the two of you, interact with each other? And well, I guess, would you interact with each other?
Yes.
Okay, so how often would you guys see each other?
When he lived with us every day,
When did he live with you?
he lived with us. I think I don't know how long, but several years, maybe like a couple, 3.
And do you know like at what point in time that was?
No, I do not. I don't remember.
Okay, were you like a lot older or a lot younger?
A lot younger,
Okay.
around the time of when February happened.
Okay, so he was living with you at that time?
Yes.
Do you know if he was permanently staying with you at that time or was it supposed to be temporary?
Temporary.
So do you know why he was staying temporarily with you?
I think for us to, because he would help around the house and we gave him a place to stay. So it was kind of a benefit for both sides. So we had him stay with us.
Did you have any siblings in the house at that time?
Yes, I did.
Do you know about how old they were?
My brother he was like 7 or 8, and my sister was 1.
Okay. And so you said you were kind of like brothers. Did you get along?
Sometimes, yeah.
Did you guys ever get into arguments?
As much as regular families would.
Right.
I would think more so like not to where we hated each other, but we still cared for each other.
Do you remember what any of the arguments were about?
I was a kid and I would be a little stingy, and me and him would both share a phone, and obviously I didn't quite enjoy it. So maybe like little like bickering over little tiny stuff that I shouldn't have been, but I was a little greedy.
Did you like him?
Around the house, yes.
Did you trust him?
Yes, I did.
Did you guys ever go do anything outside of the house?
Yes.
What sort of stuff would y'all do outside the house?
I remember one time my stepdad had a police like event, and it was at Chavanel, but I think it was at like the police department, and they had like this little event where they had like food trucks and stuff, and I remember going out there. I remember bringing the whole family, and he was there too.
And y'all get along when y'all go out to different events like that?
Yes.
Was there ever a time that he did something that you thought was inappropriate?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What was the first time when he did something that you thought was inappropriate? I guess, where were you that time?
Well, there was multiple times, but not really. They weren't really brought into my attention until February happened, until
Okay.
I actually thought about it and thought that it wasn't okay. There was
Objection, Your Honor.
times-
Can we approach?
Yes. All right, everyone can be seated. All right, so state, there's a
Yes.
motion in limiting in place. If it is not concerning what is in the indictment, then you all need to approach beforehand. Does everyone understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So defense, your objection is sustained. I've given the jury instruction. I know you requested a mistrial that will be denied.
Thank you. If I could just, for the record, just state.
Yes.
The reason for asking for the mistrial, the witness basically said that there's been other incidents where he's now been made aware of, and now in February, that's when he finally came forward. I understand that the court has instructed the jury to disregard. We just believe in a case like this with highly sensitive matter, which we asked for a motion in limine on, that the jury cannot, that bell can't be unrung. And so at this point, we don't believe Mr. Alejandro would be able to get a fair trial.
All right, the mistrial will be denied and the court will note for the record that the witness did not state any specific instances of any type of touching. He just talked about other things that had happened. So the defense, your objection with regards to the witness answering the question in the state, asking the question, that objection will be sustained. The mistrial is denied. State. This witness is not to go into that any further. There are to be no questions about that. If there are other questions concerning that, or if there is a violation of the court's ruling, then defense, the court will hear whatever motions you may have.
Thank you, Judge.
Correct. So, excuse me, we're off the record. With regards to the questions that are being asked, the state is not going to ask you any questions that violates the court's ruling. Okay. So this is the attorneys who will answer the questions. I just want you to make sure that you listen to both sides' question and only answer that question. Okay. All right. Thank you. Is there anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor. The state will limit its questions to the events in the indictment on February.
Is there anything else from either side?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Can you let Deputy Lord know that I can come back in? Okay, no problem. Do you need to, are they, they're, all right. Do you need to take a break or anything? All right, thank you. Oh, and just so you know, Judge Torres sent me a text message letting me know that you were going to be here. I'm sure. I'm sure. All right, we're ready.
All right, put it through.
Excuse me, did the lights get dimmed in here?
They did, Judge.
I think you may have hit some panel. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, State, you may continue with your questions.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let's jump back just a second and talk about the layout at your house. Did you have your own room back then?
No, I shared a room
Who'd you share a room with?
or Rainy.
With Raymond. Okay, so you and Raymond stayed in the same room.
Yes.
Okay. And so let's talk about the first time in February of 2021 that he did something that you thought was inappropriate. Do you remember like what day it was?
The 22nd or the 21st.
Okay. Do you remember where it happened?
In my room.
Okay. And so let's walk through kind of the time that it happened. So do you remember what time of day it was?
It was nighttime.
Okay. So what happened that day? Let's start maybe that evening. Did you do anything with Raymond that evening? Do you recall?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Do you remember when you went to bed that evening?
I didn't. I didn't go to bed. I stayed up late.
Okay. So what were you doing that evening? Staying up late? Like how did it play out?
I was supposed to be asleep because I had school the next day. So my mom had told me to go to sleep and I didn't. I stayed up watching YouTube and sometime during the night I got startled because I heard somebody walking.
Okay. And let's I want to back up first to you had school the next day. So this is in February of 2021. Were you going to school in person or were you
In
doing
person.
okay, so
I think it was online, maybe. I don't quite recall.
okay. When it was online, do you remember what time you'd wake up for school?
School started around like I think 7:45 maybe. So I had to get up at like 6:40, maybe 6 o'clock.
And did your mom, when you had to get up early for school, did your mom want you to get to bed at an early hour?
At a decent time, yes.
Okay. What time did she normally want you to go to bed?
9:30.
And so that night, did you go to bed at 9:30?
No, I didn't.
When you stay up late, what do? Do you like watch videos online or
Yeah, I usually just watch YouTube and was just staying up.
Okay. And so that was what was going on that night.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so you're watching videos, are you in your bed at this point?
Yes, I'm.
Okay. Does your mom ever come to check on you when you're supposed to be in bed?
No, I wouldn't say no.
Okay, so like when you want to stay up late and watch YouTube videos, does anyone ever come in and say, hey, go to bed?
No, not really. No.
Okay. So that night you're staying up watching videos, and then you said you heard someone walking down the hall or something?
Yes, somebody was walking towards my room.
And at this point, was there anybody else in your room with you?
No, just myself.
Okay. And so what happens after you hear somebody walking down the hallway?
I tried to hurry up and turn everything off and tried to pretend like I'm asleep.
Did you think it was your mom coming?
Yes, I did.
Would you have been in trouble if she caught you looking at your phone that late?
Yes, I would have.
Okay. So you shut everything down. What do you do next?
I tried and play it off like I was sleeping.
All right. How do you do that?
I was just turned everything off and I turned everything off and just laid there and I just closed my eyes and tried to not seem like I was awake or doing something or like not in a rush. You know what I mean?
Do you have any lights in your room?
Back then, besides just the ceiling fan light now.
Okay. So were any lights on?
Oh.
Okay.
Well, there is one in the hallway.
Right.
There's a hallway light.
But in your room,
Mm,
any lights?
didn't know.
So you hear the person coming, you're now pretending to be asleep. Do you close your eyes when you pretend to be asleep?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What happened next?
Um, what happened was somebody walked in and while I was pretending to be asleep, began to touch me.
Okay. When the person walked in, did you still have your eyes closed?
No, I was kind of having my eyes in like squint. I kind of squinted my eyes
Okay.
so I could see who it was.
Who came in your room?
Raymond Alejandro.
Okay. And then you said he touched you. Where did he touch you?
Underneath the clothes around my penis.
Okay. Do you remember what clothing you were wearing that evening?
I don't remember if I was wearing a shirt, but I think that day I was wearing shorts and underwear.
Is that how you normally dress for sleeping?
Yeah, because it gets hot.
Okay. When he came in and then he touched you, where was he positioned in your room?
He laid down he laid down near my feet and I don't know in exactly what position he was in, but I know I felt him on the bedside of my feet or the like towards the end of the bed.
Okay. And where on your body, and I think you already said that. What part of his body did he use to touch you?
His hands.
Okay. How did you know it was his hand?
Because I felt it.
Okay. What did his hand feel like when he was touching you?
Cold. Felt cold. And it felt like, he was He was ah, he was going in a motion where it was, you know, it was he was kind of like, I don't know, going in an up and down motion.
Okay. And I do want to backtrack just a moment. When you say the word penis, are you referring to the male genitalia?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And do you remember the clothing that he was wearing that night?
A shirt and shorts.
Do you remember hearing him or hearing anything, him make any noises?
No, not that I recall.
Do you remember if he turned on the lights when he came in?
No, he didn't.
Okay. While he was touching you, did you say anything to him?
No, I didn't.
Did you think if you needed to physically fight him off that you would be able to?
No,
What did you do while he was touching you?
I kind of just laid there and just let it happen.
Okay. And you said that he was going up and down. And I want to make sure for the record, which part of his body was going up and down?
Well, his hands were touching me, and he was, I don't know the correct word to use, but he was like, you know, touching me, and like, oh, how would I explain it? I don't.
Okay, that's okay. Do you remember like how his hand was shaped? Was it like flat, or were his fingers extended? Do you recall how that felt?
It was kind of like his fingers were wrapped around my penis.
Okay. And did he use only one hand or did he use two hands?
I believe just one.
And do you know what the other hand was doing, the hand that wasn't touching your penis?
Well, he used both hands to take off my clothes, and I believe he used one to touch me, and then with his second hand, I don't remember.
Okay.
I didn't look.
And where specifically did he touch you with his hand?
On my penis.
Okay. And do you know if you were facing him as it happened?
I was just laying down facing up.
Okay. Do you remember how it ended?
He kind of just stopped.
Do you remember? Oh, sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Do you remember if there was anything that made him stop, or could you tell?
No.
After he stopped touching you, did he say anything?
No, he didn't.
Did he, were there any other occasions that he touched your penis?
Yes, there were some times, yes.
After that time, what other times can you recall?
After what time?
After the time when he came in while you were in the bed and you were supposed to be asleep.
After
he
that
came in.
happened, I didn't see him again.
Okay. And did you Do you remember telling your mom about this happening?
Yes, I do.
Um, okay, when did you tell your mom?
February 22nd.
Okay, was that the same day that it happened?
Yes, it could have been. I don't recall how late I stayed up that night.
Okay,
So I don't remember if it was going into the 22nd or if it was the 21st.
okay. Did you immediately tell your mom right after it happened?
The moment I woke up, no. I
Okay.
didn't.
Um, did did your mom come talk to you about it?
No, I brought it up to her.
Okay. And after it happened, did he ever tell you not to tell anybody about it?
No, he didn't.
Okay. Before he touched you, did he ever say anything like, ask for your consent to touch you?
No.
Is this the kind of thing that's embarrassing to talk about?
Usually no.
Okay, with your mom though?
No.
Okay. After it happened, um, did Raymond keep living in the home?
No, he didn't.
Okay. Did you talk to Raymond after he stopped living in the home?
No, I didn't.
Has Raymond ever apologized?
No.
Um, as far as your stepdad's side of the family, do you know if the relationship with that side of the family has changed since it happened?
Yes, it has.
So when you were able to let your mom know about what happened, do you recall how that conversation took place?
Um, it was more so of me trying to build up the courage to finally tell my mom.
Okay, let's kind of delve into that. Like, what do you mean by build up the courage? What were your concerns?
A part of me felt, well, didn't feel, I knew that this would have a big effect in our lives, and it was more so of me coming to reality and saying that it wasn't okay. And I tried, it was more so of me trying to use the day as like thinking of what really happened. And I just had to use some time to like actually like know what happened and remember what happened.
Mhm.
And and
Do you remember who initiated that conversation?
I brought it up to my mom.
Do you remember where you were with your mom?
I believe I took her to my room because I told her I had something to tell her. And I kind of just straight up said what happened. I told her that
Raimi touched me.
Objection, hearsay.
Oh, that'd be overruled.
I just told her that Raimi touched me and that I told her how it happened, and she told me everything was gonna be okay. And yeah,
Did the police ever come take a report?
yes, they did.
And did you tell the police what happened?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you have to go, do you remember if you went to see a nurse or any other people who interviewed you?
Like, what do you mean?
Do you remember going to any to tell your story to like a forensic interviewer?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And did you tell them the same thing you told your mom?
Objection, hearsay, bolstering.
Overruled.
Okay. And when you told your mom, do you remember if you told anyone else before her?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Do you know if it was your mom who also called the police once you told her?
Yes, I think so.
No further questions past the witness.
Defense.
Thank you, Judge. Hi, good afternoon, Jesus.
Hello.
And how do you want me to refer, is Jesus okay, or?
That's fine.
Okay. I'm Matthew Allen. We've never met before. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you some questions. If I ask you anything that doesn't make sense or you're not understanding my questions, just please let me know so I can rephrase, okay?
Okay.
So you talked about your family. So in February of 2021, again, who is living in the house?
Me, my mom, my stepdad, Raimi, my brother, and my sister.
Okay. And you said your brother, what's your brother's name?
Jose Garza,
Okay. And your sister at the time, how old was your sister?
1.
Now, how long had you been living at that house?
Since 5th grade, so I'm in 9th now, so like maybe like 4 or 5 years.
All right. Now, Raymond is you said he's your step uncle.
Yes.
Okay, so he's brothers with your stepfather.
Yes.
All right. Now, you had said that so the state just talked to you. You talked to multiple people about what you described on February 21st of 2021.
Yes.
Now, you had told the state that Raymond was living with you. Do you remember previously saying that he wasn't living with you?
No, I don't.
Okay. Would it surprise you that you did say that he didn't live with you during that time period?
Honestly, probably not. No.
Okay.
Wouldn't.
Fair enough. Now, again, during this time period of February of 2021, you described that that Raymond would, he would help out around the house. Is that right?
Yes.
And that meant, what does your mom do for a living?
My mom, right now, she is going to college. She's a student, but before that, she was a nurse.
Okay. And then what does your stepdad do?
He is a police officer.
All right. So would Raymond would help watch you and your siblings. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And you said you guys would do stuff together, right?
Yes.
And so going to this time period, you said you shared a room with Raymond? Is that, you testified that you shared a room with Raymond in February of 2021?
Sorry, I'm just a little nervous.
That's okay.
At the time, I didn't share a room with Ramy.
Okay. So when,
So-
I apologize. I'm
All right,
speaking.
so no,
Okay.
stop.
I know, I
stop.
was gonna,
So the court reporter, everyone remember, the court reporter can only take down one person at a time speaking. So if you all talk over each other, she can't take anything down. I'm able to see what she's typing, and right now she's having a difficult time. So let's remember not to do that, okay?
thanks, Jay. And that's my fault.
It's okay.
Um,
I'm sorry.
okay, so it's correct that you and Raymond did not actually share a room.
No, we didn't.
Okay. Now, when Raymond would sleep over, he would actually sleep in the living room. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. So that time when you described that he comes into your room, what time was that? Do you know?
No, I do not specifically know.
Okay. Do you previously remember saying it was, so you said it was February 21st of 2021. Do you previously remember telling people it was at 5 a.m?
I don't really remember the time now, if I'm being honest. I mean, it was so long ago, I can't remember specifically the time.
Okay. Well, would it surprise you that February 21st at that 5 a.m. is actually Sunday?
Yes.
Okay. So you going to bed would be Saturday. So you wouldn't have school on Sundays. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you were startled because you heard somebody in the hallway.
Yes.
You never told anyone that previously, have you?
Well, not startled, no, but I did hear somebody walking. I wasn't scared, but I was kind of in a rush to pretend like I was asleep. So not really scared, but scared to get in trouble.
Okay, but you actually had previously told people that you heard it, there was a knock at your door. Is that right?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you review any of your statements prior to coming to court today?
No, I didn't.
Okay. How many times have you met with the prosecutors about this case?
Just once.
Just once?
Yeah.
When was that?
I don't remember.
Okay. Was it like a year ago or last week or?
Probably like a month ago, maybe.
Okay. Well, would it surprise you that you told people that he knocked at your door that night?
No, it wouldn't.
And just to be clear, I mean, in the house, what room is next to your room?
There's the front door, which is at the very front. You walk in, there's sort of a hallway. There's a hallway into the living room. Right before the living room, there's another hallway that leads to both me and my brothers in the restroom.
Okay. And so this night or early morning that we're talking about, in the house, there's your two siblings, is that right?
Yes,
And then your mom and stepdad.
yes.
Okay. Now you talked about that you didn't think it was your mom doesn't check on you to make sure you're asleep. Is that what you testified to?
Yes.
Okay. Did you remember telling Nisi Hernandez that you originally thought it was your mom that was coming to check on you?
Yes, I did believe it was my mom. So that's, well, I tend to think of the worst. So I thought it was my mom. So I also connected that to me getting in trouble. That's why I rushed to hurry and try to act asleep.
And then you said you were acting asleep, but then when the person walked in, you did open your eyes a little to see who it was. Is that fair?
Yes,
And then you saw it was Raymond,
yes,
but then you continued to act as if you were asleep, right?
yes.
And you said, throughout that night that you were watching YouTube or whatever, what were you watching on?
Mm.
Was it a phone or a laptop? Do
Oh,
you
what was I
remember?
watching on?
Yes.
Oh, my TV.
Okay, your TV. Was your door open or closed? Do you remember?
Well, from what you said, it was close, but I don't remember now. No.
Okay. And you didn't have a lock on your door, is that right?
No, I don't.
And you testified originally that his hand went underneath your clothes. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Then later on, you said that he used one hand to pull your shorts and underwear down. Do you remember
Well,
that?
Well, he didn't go underneath, like he didn't slide his hands in my pants. He pulled my pants down and
Okay. And I'm just, thank you for the clarification. And you said he used one hand, is that right?
yes,
And then the other hand, I think you said was using to do that, right?
well, he used both to pull my pants down.
Okay.
And he used one to touch me, but I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Well, you remember telling people, because you were specifically, he wasn't touching himself or anything, and you remember telling people, no, he wasn't doing that, right?
I don't think he was, no.
Okay. No, again, you didn't see him doing that, right?
No.
And how long was Raymond in your room on that night?
I don't know an exact time. There wasn't a clock or anything for me to know exactly.
Do you remember telling people it was about 15 minutes?
Yes, I do remember that.
Okay. And then again, nothing was said during that time. Is that right?
Like when he was
Raymond doesn't say anything to you during that time.
No, he doesn't.
And then at some point he gets up and leaves. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember talking with someone about CPS? Someone from CPS came to the house. Do you
Yes.
remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And do you remember him? He asked you if you would come down to make a statement. Do you remember him asking you that?
No.
No. And
Maybe.
okay. And then your response was asking him if you get to miss school for the statement.
No, I don't remember that.
And again, you're not saying you didn't, you just don't remember that conversation. Is that fair?
Yeah, I don't remember that conversation.
Okay. I could just have 1 minute, Judge.
Yes.
Just, you said when the state was talking about talking to your mom, you needed some time. So did you go to school? You went to school on that Monday, is that right?
Yes,
Okay. And then when you came home, you initiated the conversation with your mother.
yes.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Any further questions?
Yes, Your Honor, briefly. Was it normal for Mr. Alejandro to come into your bedroom
Late at night
um,
or at all?
at all?
Yes,
Okay, and late at night?
no.
Okay. What would y'all do when he'd come into your bedroom?
Well, it would depend. I mean, sometimes he would come tell me to do chores, or sometimes he would, come into my room and sit down and, I mean, I guess hang out with me almost.
All right, could I have parties approach?
Let's talk about the time when you came into your bedroom and touched your penis. What was your emotional state when that was happening to you?
Shocked. I didn't know how to feel.
Okay. Did, and this may be kind of a personal question, but did your body go through any physiological changes that you know of when he touched you?
No.
Okay. No further questions, pass the witness.
Very briefly, Judge. Just, you said you're watching YouTube on your TV, right?
Yes.
Okay. When you either hear the knock or the person walking down the hall, is the TV still on or is it off?
Off.
Okay. Yep, no further questions.
State.
No further questions.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
We'd ask subject to recall, Judge.
All right, you may step down. Just make sure you're available if you're needed to come back, okay? All right, thank you. Yes, you can leave. All right, state, call your next witness.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes. I'm going to close the door. Everyone be seated. And if you can have your witness take the witness stand. Okay, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Regina Garza.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Garza. Is it okay if I call you Regina?
Yes,
Okay. Regina, how old are you?
35.
Okay. And are you currently working?
No,
No. What do you do?
I'm a nurse and I'm going to school full time now.
Okay. And what is your relationship to Jesus Lesa?
He's my son.
Okay. And how old was he on February 21st of 2021?
13.
And at that time, who all was living in your home?
My husband and my 3 kids and Raymond Alejandro.
And do you see Raymond Alejandro in court today?
Yes.
Can you identify him by pointing to him and identifying an article of clothing he's wearing?
A white t-shirt and glasses.
Okay. And did Jesus ever come to you about any allegations of him being touched?
Yes.
Okay. Did he tell you about a specific incident where he was touched?
Yes.
Okay. Who did he indicate had touched him?
Raymond.
And were you the first person that he told?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
My son told me that I was the first.
And did he tell you about an incident that occurred while he was supposed to be asleep?
Yes.
And what did he tell you about that incident?
He said in the middle of the night that Raymond had came into his room while he was pretending to be asleep in bed and sat next to him and touched his genitals underneath his clothes.
Okay. Did he tell you specifically what part of his body Raymond had touched him on?
In the beginning, no. But as he started talking to the police, then he stated exactly where, which was his penis.
So he stated that the defendant had touched him on his penis.
Yeah.
Okay. Did he indicate to you, I guess, how he touched him?
No, he just said touching.
Did he tell you how long he had touched him for?
I think he said 15, maybe 15 minutes. I don't know.
And when did he tell you about this?
The day after the incident happened.
And what did you do once you got that information?
Called the police.
Um,
All right, next question,
yes, Your Honor. No further questions.
defense.
I guess, just to be clear, so as he told you that in the middle of the night, Raymond came into his room, right? And this is when it's just you and your son.
Correct.
Okay. And he tells you that he was pretending to be asleep. Is that right?
Yes.
And this happened, I guess, late Saturday, early Sunday morning.
Yes.
All right. And then the conversation that you're having with him, with your son, is Monday.
Yes.
Okay. And that he told you he touched him underneath his clothes for about 15 minutes.
Yes.
All right. And the part about touching of the penis or the hand movement, that was when the police arrived.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Judge, that's all I had.
All right.
I would just have the state caution, if we could, or the court, that any other incidents than the one that was just testified, or any alleged incidents other than the one that was just testified to, are not to be talked about.
All right. So the state is, when they question you, they're going to be questioning you about the incident that's alleged to have occurred in February. So they're going to be questioning you specifically about what he told you as it relates to that incident. There are to be no mentioning of any other incidences. If you think that's what's being elicited by either party, just, you can let the court know that you don't understand the question. And again, if something's going to be brought up that has been covered in the motion in limine, then parties need to ask to approach. All right. So we are on recess. I gave the jury their break. So if anyone wants to take a break, now's the time to do that.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, what time are we to return?
3:20.
Okay, just. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Oh, because this is a hearing outside the present. All right, so what ends up happening is the first outcry witness that you have. Let's say you tell that first person A, B, and C. So they want to know that this is the first outcry witness that you've ever told it to. But then let's say you have a second outcry witness, and that outcry witness, maybe you tell them X, Y, Z. So that person will be able to come and testify because it's something different, something in addition to what you've told the first outcry witness. So they usually do this to make sure that that's the very first outcry witness. And also, as a defense attorney, sometimes you want to do it because you want to get a chance to do a little bit of cross-examination with that witness to see how they'll respond to certain things. Oh, when we come back, the state is going to recall that witness and we shall see what will happen. But normally what will end up happening is they'll probably ask the witness name, age, how many children do you have, where do you live, is if that's in Bexar County, that type of thing.
Right.
And then they will ask questions, which should be exactly what we heard, but you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then the defense will get a chance to cross-examine her. Yes, sure. Okay. All right, you're welcome. Oh, yes, you can. We're waiting for. All right, we're back on the record. Defense, do you have any objection to the witness being the outcry witness? And what was your witness name, please?
Regina Garza.
Any objection to Regina Garza as the outcry witness, defense?
No objection to the testimony she brought.
All right. Then she is the outcry witness. All right, tell them we can bring them in. And can you have her placed back on the witness stand, please? Oh, no, just have them come on in. All right, thank you. You just have a seat. And you can adjust the microphone any way you want to, but just make sure you speak up so everyone can hear. Oh, we're ready.
All right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. State, call your next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Regina Garza.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, if you can lower your hand, make sure you keep your voice up so that the jurors can hear and the court reporter can hear. If you could state your name and spell it for the record, please.
Regina Garza, Regina Garza.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Is it okay if I refer to you as Regina?
Yes,
Regina, how old are you?
35.
And are you currently working?
No.
What do you do currently?
I am a licensed nurse and then I stay at home with the kids and I'm going to school full time,
What do you go to school for?
nursing,
And how long have you been a licensed nurse?
since 2014.
And where do you live?
Alamo Ranch area, or you need the exact address?
If you know the exact address.
Yeah, 14110 Tyler Point, San Antonio, Texas, 78254.
And is that in Bexar County?
Yes,
How long have you lived at that address?
since 2019.
So you were living there in 2021.
Yes,
And how are you related to Jesus Lesa?
he's my son.
Okay. And when is his birthday?
It's 11/23/2007.
And do you know Raymond Alejandro?
Yes,
Okay. How do you know him?
he's my brother-in-law.
So he's your husband's brother? And is your husband also Jesus's dad?
No,
So is it a different father?
yes,
Okay. And does Raymond live with you currently?
no,
Has he ever lived with you?
yes.
When did he live with you?
He's lived with us off and on since me and my husband were dating
When did you two start dating?
in 2015.
And just so everybody knows, what is your husband's name?
Jose Garza.
Okay. And you said that the defendant would live with you on and off. How long were his stays while he was living with you?
I think he's stayed over a year.
Okay.
before.
And would he stay over for like a week, a few months, or how?
Yeah, he would stay for a long time,
Okay.
for over a year, like long periods of time.
Okay. And why was he living with you?
He helped us out with our children while I was working and my husband was working.
Okay. And was he living with you in February of 2021?
Yes,
Okay. And did when Raymond wasn't living with you during that year-long period, did he have another place that he was living at?
I don't remember. I'm
Okay.
sure he did.
Where would he sleep when he was living at your home?
He would sleep on the couch or he would sleep with my younger son sometimes.
Okay. And what's your younger son's name?
Jose.
Did he ever share a room with Jesus?
No.
And where would Jesus sleep?
In his bedroom.
And where was his bedroom? I guess what's the layout of the home?
When you first walk into our home, you go to the left and there's a hallway and it's our two, like my youngest son and then Jesus and a restroom. And you could still go straight and then there's the living area, kitchen and my daughter's bedroom and the master.
Okay. Is it a one bedroom or I'm sorry, a one floor home,
Yes.
1 story home? Okay. And what I guess if you can remember, what did Jesus's room look like at the time?
When you would walk into his room, his bed was up against the wall and his TV up against this wall and his closet was next to the bed.
Okay. So was the TV closer to like a side of the bed or to the foot of the bed?
To the foot of the bed.
Okay. And to your knowledge, while he was living with you, did Raymond have any other work?
He worked off and on. He had worked at restaurants before, but he didn't work long.
Okay. You said he was working at restaurants. Well, what kind of work was he doing, if you know?
He was a cook.
Okay. And did he pay you and your husband rent in exchange for living at your home?
No.
So you said that sometimes he would watch the kids and help you out with the kids. Did he have any other chores or responsibilities around the house while he was living with you?
No, it was just if you live there, you just help out as everybody else does.
Okay.
Like set.
Okay. Did you ever leave him alone with the children?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time you had 3 children, correct?
Yes.
And how many children do you currently have?
4.
And when he was in charge of watching the children, when you and your husband were at work, did he also have like responsibilities in like disciplining the children, putting them in timeout, things like that?
No.
Okay. At that time, how was your relationship with the defendant?
I was extremely close to him. If I was going to trust anyone with my kids, it would have been him.
Do you know how old he was in 2021?
No, I'm not sure.
Now, in regards to your relationship, did you and the defendant ever get into arguments about anything?
No.
Were there ever any issues with Raymond about anything?
No. I mean, like I said, like I was extremely close to him. I felt like closer to him than even my own siblings. I felt like motherly towards him. I always just wanted the best for him.
Okay. Did any of the kids ever have any problems with him?
No. I mean, Jesus and him would fight like brothers, you know.
Overall, how was their relationship? The relationship between the defendant and Jesus?
Like I said, they would like fight like brothers, like an older brother,
Mhm.
you know, where they pick on each other or whatever.
Did they but they got along pretty well throughout that time, would you say?
Yeah.
Now, did Jesus ever have a conversation with you about Raymond ever touching him inappropriately?
Yes.
Did he talk to you about an incident that occurred while he was supposed to be asleep? Jesus was supposed to be asleep?
Yes.
Okay. How did this conversation come up?
He had just got home from school and I had just gotten home also. I went to the restroom and I saw him come in the home and he looked visibly upset. And I turned and asked my husband and Raymond, like, why is he upset? What happened? And they were like, I don't know. So I went into the room to talk to him. And that's when he told me about the incident.
Okay. You said you noticed that he was visibly upset. What do you mean by that? What did you notice?
He had his headphones on and his demeanor was that he was like mad, I guess. I don't know how to explain.
How does he normally act?
Normally he's pretty happy. I mean, during those times he was going through periods of being moody like normal teenagers, but for the most part, he's a happy kid.
But you noticed that he was acting different than he normally does then.
Yes.
Okay. So you went into his room, and then what happened after you went into his room?
He told me that he thinks I should sit down, and he said that Raymond had touched him.
Have you ever had this kind of conversation with him before where he's like, "Mom, sit down"?
No.
No. Okay. So this was the first time that anything like this ever came up.
Yeah.
And you said that he told you that Raymond, the defendant, had touched him.
Yes.
What did he say about that?
He said that he was pretending to be asleep and he came in the middle of the night and he touched his genitals. He sat next to the bed and then touched his genitals underneath his clothes.
Okay. And when you say that he touched his genitals, did Jesus specify to you what part of his body the defendant had touched?
His penis.
Did he mention to you how the defendant touched his penis?
In the beginning, he said just rubbing. He didn't explain it in depth, but as we went to the hospital and he talked to the same nurse, that's when he said that he was masturbating him.
Did he describe to you whether or not, or if the defendant was doing anything else while he was touching Jesus?
No, he said that he was just frozen and he pretended to be asleep.
Okay. So Jesus didn't tell you, he didn't indicate to you that he had tried to fight back or anything like that?
No.
Did he tell you how he was feeling at the time that this was happening?
He didn't.
Object to relevance, how he was feeling.
Any other objection? All right, that'll be sustained.
And once he did he tell you whether or not he had told anybody else about this incident before telling you?
No.
So you were the first one that he had told.
Yes.
And what did you do once he told you about the touching?
We called the police to report it.
Okay. Which police department did you call?
Bear County.
Okay. And prior to them arriving, or prior to you even calling the police, did you confront the defendant about this?
No. I came out of I called my husband to come to the room.
Where was your husband at the time?
He was in the living room.
Okay.
Watching our daughter. And then I called him to the room. Jesus told my husband what had happened. And then I told Jesus to stay here. I closed the door. We both went to our bedroom and I told him that he needed to get him out of the house.
You told your husband that he needed to get the defendant out of the house?
Yes.
Okay. Did the defendant leave the house?
Yes.
Did he leave that day?
Yes. He left without being told to leave.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't.
Did you, after finding out this information, did you make any contact with the defendant prior to him leaving?
No.
Did you, how was the defendant acting
He was
during
sitting
this whole incident?
He was sitting there at our kitchen island with his stuff. And we walked past and he didn't acknowledge us or anything. He just stayed there.
Okay. When you say we walked past, who walked past?
Me and my husband.
Okay. And this was prior to you finding out about this incident?
No, this was after,
Okay.
when we went to our bedroom.
Okay. And you said that You said that Raymond left without being asked to leave.
Yes.
Why did he leave, if you know?
I told my husband that he needed to leave, so my husband called his other brother. So to come pick him up. So I don't know if maybe the other brother told him to come out or what, but he didn't speak to us at all.
Okay. And then when did the police arrive? Did they arrive while Raymond was still at the house or afterwards?
No, he had already left.
Okay. And did you speak with the police on the scene? Okay. And what did you tell them?
Object, hearsay.
That'll be overruled.
That my son had made an outcry that Raymond had touched
Oh, I'm
him.
so sorry. I'm going to sustain that objection. If you're going to say something what somebody else told you, I'm going to sustain the objection. Okay. All right. You may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. After you made your statements to the police, did you take Jesus anywhere else to make any other further statements?
Yes, that Wednesday, we took him to Methodist Children's Hospital to see a SANE nurse and get him assessed there. And they didn't have an available SANE nurse. So then we went to Children's Hospital downtown.
Okay.
And that's where he saw a SANE nurse.
Okay. Did you ever take him to be interviewed by a forensic examiner?
Yes.
Or forensic interviewer, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Where did you take him to for that to be
Child
done?
safe.
Child safe?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, was that interview conducted?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor, pass the witness.
Defense.
Thank you. Ms. Garza, you live here in San Antonio? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And Jesus the third, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so his biological father is Jesus the second?
He's junior.
Junior, all right. In February of 2021, where was Jesus Junior living? His biological father?
I believe at the time he was in Nebraska.
Okay. Does he still live in Nebraska?
No.
Okay, where does he live now?
San Antonio.
San Antonio. Now, going through, again, you stated that it was normal for Raymond to stay over at your house, right?
Yes.
And he would stay over for sometimes short or long periods of time.
Yes.
All right. And that was because he would be helping out with the kids.
Yes.
All right. And when Raymond would stay over at the house, he would stay on the couch or with your younger son.
Yes.
What's your younger son's name?
Jose.
Jose. Okay. And yeah, again, you said he wouldn't stay with Jesus, right?
No.
Now, Jesus's room, again, he had his own room, right?
Correct.
Did he have his own phone?
Yes.
Okay. And there was no lock on Jesus's door, is that right?
No.
And at the time, in February of 2021, you were working as a nurse,
Yes.
and your husband he was a Chavano Park police officer?
Yes.
All right. And so again, with work and then a 1-year-old, Raymond would help out with the kids and around the house.
Yes.
And with work and 1-year-old, you said, again, I think you said when Jesus came home from school, you noticed he was upset.
Yes.
But that there were other times that there were periods where he was moody.
Yes.
Okay. And so is it fair to say you were unsure, was it one of those times or what was going on? Right?
I didn't know what was going on. That's why I went to go ask him.
Okay. And again, you initiated that conversation with him, right?
Yes,
Now, when he's talking to you, this is on, I guess, a Monday afternoon, after he gets home from school.
yes,
But when he tells you of the alleged incident, it happened either very late Saturday or really early Sunday. Is that fair to say?
correct.
And I believe he actually told you it was 5 a.m. on Sunday,
Yes.
right? Okay. And he doesn't go to school on Sundays, right?
No.
All right. And he was going in person to school at this time.
Yes,
And you use the words he said he touched his genitals. Were those the words that Jesus used?
I don't recall. I'm
Right.
not sure.
But that he was pretending to be asleep, right?
Yes,
Does on like Fridays and Saturdays when he doesn't have school, does he have a bedtime?
not really.
Okay. And that Saturday night, Sunday morning, you and your husband were home. Is that right?
Sunday, I don't recall.
I guess you were both sleeping at the house that night.
Yes,
Okay. Sorry.
no, I was. I can't remember if my husband was.
Okay. Then he told you he sat next to him on the bed. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. Now, after you find out, you have a conversation with your husband, obviously saying, look, Raymond has to leave the house.
yes,
And your husband notifies his brother. Who do you know his name?
Angel.
Angel. Okay. And that would be Raymond's brother as well.
Yes,
Okay. So when you say he just left, you don't really know what was conveyed to Raymond or what any of those conversations were. Is that fair?
yes, we didn't have a conversation with him. I don't know what happened between him and Angel.
Okay. But your husband had a conversation with Angel,
Yes,
and presumably Angel had a conversation with Raymond, right?
I can't speak on that. I don't know.
Okay. But Raymond didn't he didn't grab it, start running out of the house. Is that fair to say? Sprinting away.
No,
Okay. And you didn't, again, you wanted him to leave the house, correct? Okay. Now, so when the police get there, I mean, presumably Raymond's phone number, right?
At the time, yes.
Yes. And you knew that Angel was picking him up?
I didn't know for sure. My husband spoke to him.
Okay. So, and obviously your husband, that's Raymond's family, right?
Yes,
So he presumably can know where Raymond is going, calling Angel or someone in his family. Is that fair?
can you rephrase that?
Sure, it wasn't a very good question. Your husband obviously has the same family as Raymond, right?
Correct.
And so your husband could probably pretty easily find out where Raymond would be staying
If
he wanted to.
I guess, I don't know how, if someone wants to give him that information.
Right. Well, the police, do you remember the police asked for the information you guys didn't know?
We didn't know.
Okay. Was there a detective that ended up following up with you?
Yes,
Okay. Did it take him some time to get a hold of you? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember making a written statement in this case?
Yes,
Okay. And that written statement was done May 11th of 2021?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay. Does that sound right?
I don't know.
Okay. I could approach.
Yes.
I'll show you what's marked as defendant's exhibit 1. Don't read it out loud, just take a look at it and see if you recognize it.
Yes,
Okay. Is there a date that you signed that statement?
yes.
What date is that?
The May 21st, 2020,
20.
21.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, no problem. I'll pass a witness.
State.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, may I press a witness?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm showing you what's been previously marked as state's exhibit number 1. What is that?
A picture of Jesus.
And was that picture taken around the time when he was 13 years old?
Yes,
And is this a true and accurate depiction of Jesus when he was 13 years old?
yes.
And to your knowledge, has it been altered or edited in any way?
No,
Your Honor, state will seek to admit state's exhibit number 1 as evidence.
Object to relevance, more prejudicial than probative.
All right, that'll be overruled. State's exhibit number 1 is admitted into evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. Permission to publish to the jury.
Granted.
Regina, at the time that Raymond was living with you and your husband, you stated that he had his own cell phone. Is that right?
yes.
Who was paying for that cell phone?
I pretty sure we were.
Okay. And did you continue paying for that cell phone after you found out about this incident?
For which cell phone are we?
Raymond's cell phone.
I believe so because there was a contract. We didn't have a choice.
Okay. Now you said that Jesus on days that he didn't have school, he didn't have really a bedtime, established bedtime. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. Would you still have to tell him, hey, go to sleep on certain nights?
Yes.
Okay. Was it normal for him to be allowed to stay up past, say, midnight on any given day at 13 years old?
Not normally.
Okay. Do you recall telling him to go to sleep on February 21st of 2021?
I don't.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense.
Nothing further.
All right, is this witness excused?
Excuse from the state.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
State, call your next witness.
The state calls Jose Garza.
All right, if you'll take a seat here, please. You raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, you can lower your hand. If you'll state your name for the record, please.
My name's Jose Garza.
All right, state.
Do you know Jesus Lesa the third?
Yes,
How do you know him?
he's my stepson.
Do you also know Raymond Alejandro?
Yes.
Junior? How do you know Raymond?
He's my younger brother.
Okay. And how old's Raymond?
I couldn't tell you. I know we're all 7 to 8 years apart.
Okay. And do you know what the relationship was like between Raymond and Jay before?
Oh, I apologize. Judge, can we approach?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you all a brief recess. We're going to be back at 4:15. Remember my previous instructions? All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, so State, and I'm sorry, sir, if you could step down and just wait outside for us.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, State, did the defense request a witness list?
I'd have to look at their replies.
All right, defense, did you request a witness list?
Yes, Judge, we should have requested it. Let me try to get the exact date, but. Just so the court knows, the witness list we received was May 15th of 2023. Doesn't list this individual.
All right, State. Is this witness on the witness list that was given to the defense?
Not the witness list, but Your Honor, it's not an expert witness, and I believe they're
So first question.
actual requests.
All right, first question. Number one, State, did you receive a request from the defense for a witness list?
Yes, it's a motion, but I don't believe there was any, I don't show that there was a ruling on the
All
motion.
right, when was that received?
July of 2022.
What year?
2022.
All right, and did you provide the defense with the witness list?
Defense was provided with a witness list of mainly expert witnesses, and there were a couple lay witnesses on that list.
All right, and is this witness that you've called on that witness list?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then what is this witness? What is the proposed or the proffered testimony that is supposed to come from this witness?
Background information about the defendant being a sibling of the defendant, and information about the relationship between the defendant and the complainant.
Okay.
Lived in the same household.
Defense?
Judge, we would object to him testifying as far as not being on the witness list. Complicating matters. He is a police officer. I understand the state's proper and he's not going to give expert testimony. But I don't even see the proper testimony. I'm not sure what the relevance is. It's redundant to the testimony that's already been received.
All right, this witness will not be allowed to testify unless there is some door open to something that makes this witness relevant as far as rebuttal.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so everyone, I gave the jury sharp break. So if anyone wants to take a break, as someone always told me, whenever a break is given, whether you need to take it or not, you should take it.
And Judge, I don't know who their next witness is, if it's gonna be an expert. But there could be a issue with the small hearing for the expert, not on qualification, just on what their proposed testimony would be.
Who's your next witness?
Would be one of the deputies.
Okay, then. Fine.
All right, thank you. We can take a break.
Deputies when you come in, are you gonna Which deputy? Oh.
All right, for the jury. All right, everyone, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, with regard to the last witness that was called, you are to completely disregard their I'm sorry. In regards to the last witness that was called, you are to completely disregard their testimony. So it will be as though that witness was never called. Does everyone understand? So that witness is not to be considered at all. All right, state, call your next witness.
State calls Deputy Hernandez.
All right, if you take a seat here, please. Can you raise your hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, have a seat. Please make sure you keep your voice up so that everyone can hear. And if you can state your name for the record and spell it.
My name is Eric Hernandez, ERICHERNANDEZ.
State.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Your
Oh,
Honor.
that's for me to tell the state to question.
Deputy Hernandez, where are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed for the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. I currently work on First Patrol East.
Okay. And how long have you worked for the Bexar County Sheriff's Office?
Almost a little over 9 years now.
Okay. And do you have to have any kind of special training to become a deputy?
Yes, you have to go through the detention academy and then once you finish the detention academy, the patrol academy.
Okay, so two separate academies. Do you what was your did you work anywhere before you worked for BCSO?
Yes, I had little jobs. I worked at a golf course.
Oh, cool. Were you a deputy on February 22nd, 2021?
Yes, I was.
And do you remember what shift you were working on that time?
I think I was on Second Patrol West.
Okay. And on that day, do you recall having to take a report about an indecency with the child case?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you remember, was it you who took the report or someone else?
I believe it was myself.
Okay. And on that day, were you alone or were you with somebody?
At that time, I was training, so I had a PTO training officer.
Okay. And when someone's training like that, is it normal for the trainee to write the report or the training officer?
It's normal for the trainee to
Okay.
do the report.
And who was the trainee that day?
It was Deputy Enrique Cepeda.
He
Oh, I was the trainee.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He was the trainer. I'm sorry.
he was the one training you.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And do you recall taking the report?
I do.
Okay. And have you reviewed your report in that case?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So when a call comes in like that, what's it normal for you to do as a patrol officer?
It's normal for me to arrive at the location, make contact with the initial caller,
Mhm.
and find out what's going on. Take the report.
And when you went to the scene that day, did you talk to anybody?
Yes, I talked to the mother and the victim.
Okay. So you talked to the complaining witness that day?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember if so do you remember if the person suspected of committing the alleged act was at the scene that day?
No, he was not.
Okay. But the complaining witness was.
Yes.
Okay. In a situation like that, when you get a report, and you've got a complainant, but there's no suspect at the scene, what would you do? Would you talk to anybody about that, or what do you do next?
We just take the initial report and then report it up the chain of command.
Okay. On a indecency with a child by contact case, do you know, is there a particular unit you'd report it to, or how does that work?
We usually report it to our supervisor first, and then they'll point us in either to our child safe investigators or just the general investigator who's on at the time.
Okay. And you mentioned the child safe investigator. Do you know what the child safe investigator does?
I do not.
Okay. Is it your role when you're the patrol officer to do the investigation of the case?
It's no, only to take the report.
Okay. And as the patrol officer, when you get a report like that, do you generally turn around and start looking for the suspect?
No.
Okay. Do you, is it something that you do do you collect any evidence at the scene when when you take the report?
Yes, based on the time lapse, we asked the person if they would like to perform a SANE exam, depending on how long it's been. But that goes to the investigator also.
Do you perform the SANE exam?
No.
Okay. And in this case, after you made your report, after you went to the scene, collected the information, and then reported your findings, did you have any involvement with the case after that date?
No, I did not.
Okay. No further questions past the witness.
Defense?
Thank you. Deputy, so you did write a report in this case, right?
Yes.
Okay, and it's important in your report to be detailed, so that way if you have to come to court, you can refresh your memory and testify, is that right?
Yes.
And you were training on that day?
Yes, I was.
How long had you been a deputy?
I had been a training deputy.
Yes.
I had been a deputy training. Maybe I can't recall
Okay.
exactly. I think I was on my second phase.
Okay. And then obviously you're still employed there today, right?
Yes.
Okay, so safe to say your knowledge and the way you do things has maybe progressed since you were a trainee.
Sure.
Now, you go, you said you talked to the mother, Regina Garza, is that right?
I believe so. Yes.
And then you talked to Jesus Leza, correct?
Yes.
Now, in your investigation or your questioning, did you collect any clothing?
No.
Okay. Did you collect, you didn't do any swabbing or anything like that, right?
That's correct.
And you said we tell them about the SANE exam. At that point, Miss Regina Garza didn't want the SANE exam done, is it? That's what your report says, right?
Yes.
Okay. When you show up at the house, you know, the demeanor of Miss Garza and Jesus, neither one of them is like crying hysterically or anything like that, are they?
No, I don't recall.
Okay. Jesus talked, if you remember, Jesus talks to you for a little bit and then start kind of playing basketball while you guys talk to his mom a little bit more.
I don't recall that part.
All right. Now you were how long were you out there at the scene?
I don't recall.
Okay. Safe to say you were out there for maybe not longer than an hour.
Possibly, yes.
All right. And then who was the other deputy with you?
Deputy Enrique Cepeda.
All right. And at the point that you're out there, your investigation or your report consisted of talking to the mother and Jesus Leza. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
All right. Do you recall you guys telling the family that we'll file the case and there'll be a warrant out?
I don't recall.
Have you reviewed your body cam?
Yes, vaguely, most of it, just the main part where we're speaking to.
Okay. That wouldn't surprise you that you tell them that though, right?
No, it wouldn't.
And did you attempt to get contact information for Raymond Alejandro?
I think we asked for his first and last name, maybe date of birth.
Okay.
I don't remember if we asked for his phone number.
That would be pretty important, right? Get a phone number?
Yeah.
Or an address?
Possibly. Yes.
Okay. And I think you said you wouldn't follow up to try to contact Raymond Alejandro or any suspect. That would be for up the chain of command.
That's correct.
Who in this specific case, who was that?
I believe it was Investigator Salazar, I believe was the investigator, the initial.
Okay. And so Investigator Salazar would be the one to try to contact any suspect in the case. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. That would be pretty important to try to contact that person.
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
State.
On a case like this, when you need to, when follow-up is needed and different witnesses need to be contacted, is it the patrol officer's job to make those phone calls or is it the investigators?
It's the investigators.
Okay. So one question was asked about whether you collected the clothing that day when the allegation is just a touching with a hand. Is it normal for you to gather the various clothing items?
No, it's not.
Okay. No further questions, pass witness.
Defense.
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Well, excuse the witness. Your Honor.
Excuse from the state.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
State, call your next witness.
The state calls Deputy Cepeda.
All right, if you'll take a seat here, please. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. Have a seat. Make sure you speak up so the jurors can hear and so that the court reporter can hear. If you'll state your name for the record and spell it, please.
Deputy Enrique Cepeda. ENRIQUE CEPEDA.
And Deputy Cepeda, what's your current occupation?
I'm a deputy sheriff for Bexar County and the patrol division.
Okay. And how long have you worked for Bexar County Sheriff's Office?
26 years, 10 months.
Do you have to have any special training to become a deputy?
Yes, sir. You have to get your license through the state of Texas. Go through physical training through the academy. Go through a patrol academy. Go through field training. That's a total of 16 weeks. And then you're on the streets by yourself.
Okay. And were you a deputy back in February 22nd of 2021?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you remember what shift you were working back then?
Second shift.
And you mentioned like field training. Were you ever someone who would be the trainer in a field training situation?
Yes, sir. Actually, during this time, I was training Deputy Hernandez.
Okay. And on that day, did y'all go out were y'all dispatched to a location for a report of an indecency with the child by contact?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you guys take a report at the scene?
Yes, sir. After Deputy Hernandez interviewed the victim and
Okay.
parents, a report was filed.
And whenever a field training officer has their trainee out in the field, is it normal for the trainee to write the report or the training officer?
Yeah, we're there for guidance and advice to guide them the right way,
You said
to see what questions to ask and so forth.
guidance. Were you there that day to give guidance?
Yes,
And as you were giving guidance, did anything happen that you felt you needed to correct Deputy Hernandez about?
no, I mean, he was already on the second phase, so he was pretty much on his own.
Okay.
I was just observing, making sure everything was being done correctly.
Okay. And when you took the report of the indecency with the child, did you guys, is there anything y'all do when y'all take that report?
Yeah, we contact the investigator, child safe investigators.
Okay.
And then go from there, see what else we have, what else we could do for the investigators. But that day, I believe we contacted just child safe investigators.
Did the investigators tell you that to collect any clothing?
Objection calls for hearsay.
All right, that'll be overruled.
You may answer.
No, I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall if the defendant was at the location?
No, he wasn't.
Okay. Do you recall if the complainant was at the location?
The complainant, the victim, he was.
Yes. In a case like this, when the defendant isn't at the location, do you guys proceed then, once you have the report, to look for the defendant, or do you continue your patrol duties?
We continued our patrol duties due to the time lapse. It had occurred, I believe it was over 24 or 48 hours, can't recall.
Okay.
But we did contact the investigator to follow up and conduct our investigation.
And do you guys conduct the SANE exam?
No, we don't.
Who
That's
conduct-
medical.
Okay.
That's
And
it.
do you guys conduct the forensic interview?
No, we don't. We conduct a preliminary interview.
How, oh, sorry for interrupting. How in depth is that preliminary interview?
The preliminary interview is to identify if there is an offense. And then from there, that's when we contact the investigator. If
When-
we see that there is an offense that occurred.
When you're doing the preliminary patrol level investigation on a case like this, is it customary to just get the basic details, or to probe and get as many details as possible?
It's the basic details.
Okay. Did any evidence at the scene, did any physical evidence get collected?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Were you instructed by anybody to collect physical evidence?
No.
Okay. No further questions past the witness.
Defense?
Deputy, you would agree with me that details are important in cases, right?
Yes,
And the best time to get those details is as close to an alleged incident as possible.
well, due to the juvenile, the victim being a juvenile, We do not probe that far to let the forensic interview take place.
Okay, my question is it, you would agree that the closer in time to an alleged incident, better to get those details as quickly as possible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you didn't write a report in this incident, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, now, the length of time that you stayed at the location, would you agree it wasn't a very long period of time?
After we did everything, that's all we could do at that time. So that's why we left the location.
Okay. And you talked to the juvenile and his mother. Is that is that the extent of what happened there at that day?
Yeah, Deputy Hernandez interviewed him.
Okay. Now, was it you or Deputy Hernandez that told them that there'll be a warrant out and he'll get picked up somewhere?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, you talked about after you get the case, it's sent to somebody else. Who was it sent to in this instance? You remember?
It was a child safe investigator. I don't remember who it was.
Okay, and we talked about you don't typically go try to find or talk to a suspect. That would be someone else's job.
Well, it depends on the time lapse of the crime.
Okay, in this instance, you didn't do that, right?
No, we didn't.
All right. Whose responsibility would that be then?
Well, that would be after the investigation is conducted, and then if they find enough evidence, then they'll go from there.
Okay, and obviously the investigators relying somewhat on you and Deputy Hernandez in getting that information. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and in this case, for the involved persons, there was you guys didn't collect an address for him, is that right?
They didn't know the address.
Okay, and there's no phone number on here, so you didn't collect a phone number for him?
No, they didn't have that information for us.
Okay, or an email?
No, sir.
Okay. No, pass the witness.
State,
When you know that a forensic interview is going to be conducted for a child witness in a case like this, is it proper procedure to go ahead and conduct that interview yourself rather than allowing the forensic interview to take place?
No, we're not qualified to do that.
All right, qualified. Are forensic interviewers qualified to do their jobs?
Yes, sir.
Objection, speculation.
sustained.
And if you know, do forensic interviewers need special training?
Objection, again, speculation outside his scope.
All right, if you do not know, then you don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. And defense asked you about how long you stayed at the house when you talked to the complainant and his mother. Was there anybody else at the house trying to give you additional statements or evidence?
The father was there, the son, and the mother.
Mhm. And when you were leaving the house, was anyone else there still trying to provide you with more information about the case?
No,
Okay.
not that I recall.
And had you gathered all the evidence that you knew to be available to you at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And no further questions, past the witness.
Just briefly about the people that you or Deputy Hernandez talked to, the mother and the juvenile, their demeanor, neither one was crying hysterically or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused?
Excuse from the state.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we're going to take our break for today. So we're going to start tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. I do have a docket in the morning. That's why I'm putting you all at 1:30 p.m. But I'll make sure we start right at 1:30 p.m. The only thing is, we cannot start unless all of you are here. As you can tell, the parking lot gets full very quickly. So on Thursdays, there are more jurors that are called down for different courts. So all of those jurors park at the parking garage usually, and people in this building park at the parking garage. So if you arrive here by 12 p.m., there'll probably be space in the parking garage for you, because sometimes people go off campus for lunch. I call it going off campus. So sometimes they go off campus and there will maybe space for you. Deputy Laura has probably shown you in the back, there is a microwave, there is a refrigerator there. So if you want to bring food to place in the refrigerator for your lunch, breakfast, however you want to do it, because on Friday, I'm going to have you here at 9. On Friday, I'm not going to have anything else but this case on Friday if we're still here on this case on Friday. Does anybody have any questions? All right, so you've heard some evidence in this case. You're not allowed to start deliberating internally with yourself or with each other or anyone else. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. When you're walking about the courthouse, make sure your badges are displayed, because people will see that you're jurors. Sometimes attorneys or people involved in a case, they will be talking about a case in the hallway. And that's the reason why we want you to have the badges on, so people know not to talk around you about perhaps this case or any other case. If you hear anyone talking about this case or hear something about this case, ignore it. And do not do any investigation. Again, everything you need to know about this case is to come from inside this courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. And we're not going to be on the record, so you can start closing. All right, everyone, please be seated. So State, of course, I don't like putting anybody on the spot, but how many more witnesses are you anticipating?
I think we have 3,
All right, and are
all
these
experts.
And so are you anticipating these are long witnesses or short witnesses?
I think one might be like long/medium, the other 2 should be short.
All right, and these are experts in what field?
It's a sane nurse, forensic interviewer, and the detective.
All right, so the detective is considered an expert. You're offering the detective as an expert in
I
what?
think most detectives are at least experts in the matter which they are investigating.
No, but I mean, what are you specifically saying he's an expert in? Because detectives,
Investigation techniques, just law enforcement techniques, the policies within San Antonio Police Department. These are all things he could probably base an expert opinion on.
He can,
do you need to have a hearing on the detective?
no, not on the detective.
All right, so who do you need to have a hearing with that you're saying is an expert?
I believe the same nurse is Julie Vereen,
Yes.
right? And it's not gonna be about her qualifications. And then the other one is Nisi Hernandez.
Nisi's not on the witness
Oh,
list.
okay.
It'll be Samuel Abrego, who is on the witness list, and he is an expert in forensic interviews. He's the supervisor down there at Child Safe. And he will be reviewing Nisi's work and rendering an opinion on it.
Okay, well, yeah, that's gonna be an issue.
All right, what is the issue going to be?
He did not actually interview the child, so I'm not sure what he's gonna testify about. And
No, everyone, you can remain seated.
and then as far as rendering an opinion on someone else's work, I don't even think the forensic interviewer themselves can render opinion on their work. So I'm not sure how someone else is gonna review it and
All
what
right,
they're
so-
gonna be looking for.
With regards to your experts, they need to be here tomorrow at exactly at 1 p.m.
Okay.
And at 1 p.m., we will have a hearing on those witnesses and whether or not they will be testifying or not. So, and both of these persons are on the witness list.
Yep.
I-
All witnesses for tomorrow are on the witness list.
I believe so, Judge.
Okay. All right. So I want everyone here tomorrow at 1. I've sent an email and I included all of you in the email.
I sent an email or the proposed charge. Again, that's just a skeleton outline. So if anyone wants to add anything or take anything away, let the court know. So I'm assuming state's going to rest tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Are you, oh, yes, you will. Are you intending to have witnesses defense?
Judge, I'll have possibly 1 to 3 witnesses. They'll be ready tomorrow.
All
2
right.
of them would be very short, so but I'll have those witnesses ready tomorrow if we're going to call them.
All right. Yes. So make sure they're ready. All right. Is there anything else?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.